Good morning and welcome to Rising. We have a great show for you today. Happy Friday, Amber. Always good to see you on a Friday.
Happy Friday. Always nice to see you.
I know it's like the end of the week and I'm about to go enjoy the weekend. What do you got going on this weekend?
I've had nothing, which I'm happy about.
Nice.
It's a busy holiday season for me, so I'm looking forward to relaxing.
The same. I've made one plan. I'm celebrating my friend tonight, but after that, I think Saturday and Sunday are going to be quiet.
Just veg, girl.
Yes.
Coming up on Rising, Border Patrol agents shot 2 people during a traffic stop yesterday, and DHS says the passenger and driver are believed to be affiliated with the Tren de Aragua gang of Venezuela.
Plus, prosecutors have reportedly opened a probe into New York State Attorney General Letitia James over her campaign transactions.
And the New York Times interviewed President Trump, who said that the U.S. could rent Venezuela for years. But first, Lindsay, what's in your lens today?
Yes, let's talk about it. So, Representative Jasmine Crockett said out loud what many people are feeling: frustration, grief, and disbelief about the tragic death of Renee Good.
It is so hard to sit here sometimes because I didn't come to Congress to write laws or to do things that are hurting people. I'm just asking if there's any decency or heart or courage on that side of the aisle.
She wasn't performing, she wasn't posturing, she was pleading, and she kept going.
The fact that a woman was killed, she was shot in her head, and y'all are pretending like nothing happened. I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed. Do you remember what our response was? Our response wasn't to sit there and pretend like it was okay. Is it okay because you have a badge?
Here's more.
Can y'all not just have a little bit of courage and humanity? A child. Child has lost her mom. And y'all want to pretend that it is okay.
It's not okay. None of this is. Renee Nicole Good was a 37-year-old American mother of 3 kids aged 15, 12, and 6 who are now growing up without their mother. According to her ex-husband, who is also the father of her 2 oldest children, Renee was shot and killed by an ICE agent on January 7th while returning from dropping off her 6-year-old at school. Like many of you, I watched that video too. I watched a mother be gunned down in her car on a residential Minneapolis street. And before any investigation could happen, the public was told by our government to believe that she was a domestic terrorist. There's no evidence of that. None. We don't know what led up to the encounter. We don't know what was said before the shots were fired. What we do know is that labels came way faster than facts. A witness, Caitlin Callinson, told NPR that Renee was given conflicting orders. One agent told her reportedly to drive away while the other one told her to get out of the vehicle. And an expert on police force, Jeffrey Alpert of the University of South Carolina, reviewed the video and told the New York Times, quote, "The way you evaluate this is you look to see what's the imminent threat to life. And there is none. She's leaving." That matters, especially when Minnesota officials say they're being blocked from accessing evidence, which we'll discuss in our next block. Footage of the ICE shooting scene is about to be played on screen. Beware, for some viewers, you may find this disturbing. Here's what we can see with our own eyes. The video shows Renee's tires pointed away from the agent. By all appearances, she's posed no significant physical threat to the officer, let alone a mortal one. Yet her life is now over. One of her kids, whose father previously passed away, is now an orphan, and the other 2 are just motherless. This is frightening because if federal agents can kill U.S. citizens on camera and political leaders rush to justify it, then the most basic liberties Americans depend on are at risk. What makes this even harder to ignore is that this wasn't always the tone. After George Floyd was killed in 2020, then President Trump said this:
"Brutal death of George Floyd. My administration is fully committed that for George and his family, justice will be served. He will not have died in vain."
Back then, I guess law and order still left room for accountability. for restraint, for the idea that a badge does not equal immunity. Now that obligation seems to be gone, and we just can't normalize that.
All right, so where should we start? With Jasmine Crockett, I guess? I mean, it's kind of rich for her to say that Democrats responded with decency when Charlie Kirk died. She was one of the people who voted against the resolution to honor him in Congress, and also accused him of racism multiple times and basically said that his legacy needed to be thrown in the trash can. So for her to talk about that and use that as leverage over the Republicans, I thought was ridiculous.
I think to call somebody out for saying things that you find to be racist or disparaging to a community is one thing. That doesn't mean they think they deserve to die from political violence. I also think everyone said and condemned that was in office, that was a Democrat, condemned the killing, but they're also allowed to say what he actually said. They're allowed to quote the man, and they're also allowed to say, we don't think that we need to honor him in our Congress. He was a podcaster. Okay, so they're allowed to say that and also say this is wrong and political violence should never happen. And that's what I saw most, if not all, Democratic leaders do. And I saw a lot of people online that were labeled Democrats maybe say disparaging remarks, but that has nothing to do with leadership in office, public elected officials, and Charlie Kirk.
All right, let's get into the actual shooting itself. I did note we showed one video. We did not show the one that shows the opposite side of the car, which does show that she did hit the officer. He bounced off the front fender of her car, and the shots that were fired, one of them was through the front windshield, right? So that alone is evidence that this car was in danger of hitting and killing him. Doesn't matter how fast the car is moving. I was hit by a car going 5 miles per hour, suffered a traumatic brain injury. It's a 2-ton box of steel, right? This officer was previously dragged by a accused legal alien pedophile back in June. He was dragged 100 yards, had 33 stitches in both of his arms. In that case, he actually tried de-escalatory tactics multiple times before he was dragged with his arm still in the car. And so I think that speaks to his frame of mind as this woman, yes, originally backs up, then puts the car in drive and accelerates towards him. He tries to jump out of the way, but fires those shots. And I think there's no doubt that this is a tragedy. But the question is, if you are impeding federal law enforcement, obstructing federal law enforcement, refuse to comply with officers' orders who are trying to detain you, and then you decide to actually drive into the officer, hitting him on your way out as you're peeling away, I just am confused as to why deadly force in that situation is not justified.
Well, the number one issue for me overseeing everything that I'm saying is the fact that our administration and federal authorities, Kristi Noem, responded immediately and called this woman a domestic terrorist while they were still analyzing footage, maybe within an hour of the incident, and rushed to judgment. And so we would like, at the very least, since we don't have all the facts and information and there's an ongoing investigation, to say we are reviewing this footage. We never want to see an American life lost, but we also never want to see an official killed or hurt in this way. And so if anything, they could say both sides of the aisle about how they feel without condemning this woman immediately and taking what they're seeing on blog posts by potential other people in the neighborhood about her potential affiliations and labeling her a domestic terrorist. Because a lot of what I looked into does not add up in any familial account or any of her ex-husband's account or anything that I'm reading about other people who knew her pretty well. So I think doing your job as a federal agent does not mean killing someone, and we should not automatically go to deadly force. Robbie and I were talking about this yesterday. So yes, I learned from that conversation that you cannot shoot at the tire or shoot at someone's leg. These are not options, right? Because they could create more chaos. But what you can do is decide, are you in mortal threat? Do I really need to kill this person? And for that, many people reviewed that video and said, at the very least, hold off on judgment. And that's what we're asking of the federal government, to hold off on judgment without condemning this woman, because this is a tragedy. You don't want an American citizen killed as you're looking to remove immigrants from the country. Nobody voted for that.
We're going to have to keep talking about this in the next block.
Up next, we'll discuss the Minnesota ICE shooting and another involving a federal agent in Portland. We'll be right back.